You don't get paid for time, you get paid for what your time is worth. That's why some people work 10 hours a day and stay broke, while others work 4 hours a day and get rich. So if you want to earn more, you don't need to work harder. You just need to make your time more valuable. And the fastest way to do that? Start treating your time like money. Spend it where it saves, save it where it leaks, and invest it where it grows. When you think about it, every hour you spend is a decision. No hour used is ever neutral. You're either falling behind or moving ahead. And high earners know this. They don't spend time, they allocate it. They treat time like a resource, budgeted intentionally. Time is a currency and they invest it with precision. Time, like money, has a return on investment. So high earners choose high ROI work. It's not about time spent, it's about value created. They ask themselves in any given moment, which task creates the greatest value per unit of time? Elon Musk is famous for this. He breaks up his day into relatively small units of time, 15-minute blocks, and then he allocates these blocks of time to whatever bottleneck issue one of his companies is having on any given day. This could be supply issues holding up production of cars, it could be design issues holding up the construction of a manufacturing plant, or it could be some complex engineering issue holding up a space rocket. But whatever it is, he asks himself, for each input of time, which problem, when solved, will have the greatest disproportionate outcome? You might think, well, I'm not Elon Musk, and that's true, unless of course you're watching Elon, but you also have high and low ROI tasks in your day. You have tasks that for a given input of time are a bad investment, and tasks for a given input of time are a good investment. Therefore, the second you start consistently allocating your time to higher value, higher ROI work is the second you start increasing the value of your time, because the value of your time is linked to the value of the task you do. If you already have a way to prioritize these tasks, then start doing that and start executing on it. However, if you don't, then you can use mine. I use this basically every day and it works really well. First of all, I break my day into units of time. So I stole this from Elon Musk. I choose 15 minutes. It works really well for me, but you could choose 30 minutes, an hour. It's all the same. All you really need is a unit of time that you can then measure and apply to this system. And then I use a simple 2x2 matrix of time versus value. This makes it incredibly easy to prioritize high value tasks and therefore increase the value of my time. You'll see that when you use this system that there's tasks that fall into the category of having low input of time but have a high value of output. These are your quick wins. Think asking for a pay rise, automating your savings, leveraging your network to ask for better opportunities. Basically anything that requires very little time of input but has a disproportionate output. Then you have other tasks that fall into the category of having high time input but also have a high value output. These are things and tasks that take a long time to do, but the payoff is also massive. Think moving city or country for a new opportunity, studying a PhD, for example, or setting up a new business. These things take a long time, but in the end, they're worth it. These two categories that I just mentioned are your priorities. Fine, they have a low or a high input of time, but more importantly, they have a high payoff. You want to prioritize these tasks if you want to increase the value of your time. However, the tasks that most of us do most days don't fall into this category. They fall into the other category. And this category you should try to avoid at all costs because it depreciates the value of your time. These are tasks that have a low or high input of time, but have a low value output. They're literally not worth your time. Spending time on these just depreciates the value of your time rather than increases the value of your time. Remember, when you focus your time on more valuable work, the worth increases automatically. And look, of course, some of your time is wasted, not because you're lazy, but because you're spending time doing work that doesn't need you. You're spending time on tasks that have a low time to value ratio. You're caught up in activity, not impact. You don't get rich replying to every email. You don't build freedom by doing things that someone else or something else can do. These tasks come with a high opportunity cost because the gain you've lost by not doing the high value task is greater than the gain you've won by doing the low value task. The top 1% deal with this by building systems, automation, delegation, templates, repeated processes. The wealthiest don't hustle more, they systemize more. They design systems that handle what doesn't need their constant attention. They understand that any time saved on low value tasks can then be reinvested back into higher value tasks and therefore increase the value of their time even further. It's not about efficiency for efficiency's sake. It's about allocating your time to what pays. Here's a quick story to illustrate my point. A while back, a friend of mine who's an educator, she gets paid $100 an hour and she took on more work. But with taking on that more work, she took on other extra tasks, emailing, client onboarding, things like that, low value tasks, in fact, that are unpaid. So one day she decided to just commit a full day to creating systems and repeated processes that would help her. After this one day of systemization, she brought her low value work down to 0. This freed up 10 extra hours in her week. She was able to take on 10 more hours with $100 an hour and make $1,000 more a week. Making an extra $1,000 a week meant that the average value of her time went up by double, by 2x. Over time, this additional income also meant she started working with better clients and she was spending more money on systems to help even save more time in the future and then increase the value of her time even further. This one-time decision led to a cascade of gains. It compounded. She realized the difference between doing more and doing the right thing more often. I know firsthand from my own work that high earners automate their savings and their investments. This takes a few minutes in their banking app and it secures a solid financial future. I know that they also tend to spend money on help. They pay for cleaners and virtual assistants. All of this to free up more time that they can dedicate it to work or to building a new business and build wealth over time. They exchange unpaid work for paid work, and this again increases the average value of their time. Thinking like this, looking at your list of daily, weekly, or monthly tasks and forcing yourself to figure out a way that you can either delegate or systemize that work is the fastest way to increasing the value of your time. Honestly, imagine if in your own life you reallocated time from low value tasks to high value tasks. What a difference that would make. It would be virtually impossible to not increase your worth. And even if you increase it by 10 or 20%, this would already be significant, but it's very possible, depending on what you're already doing, that you could 2x, 4x, or even 10x this difference. This is the power that building systems can have on making you and your time more valuable. The cool thing is how this plays out over time. The sooner you start investing your time more wisely, the sooner and the more it pays you back. It's like compound interest. The effort you put in now doesn't just add up, it multiplies over time. Think about the stock market. For decades, nearly half the total return doesn't come from rising stock prices, but actually comes from reinvested dividends. Small amounts of money paid back into the system that grow exponentially. It's a perfect real-world example of how the earlier you save time on pointless tasks and then you reinvest that time back into higher value tasks, how it will not just add up, it will multiply. But the truth is people delay. They wait until they're ready, until they're older, until things slow down. It's not time that slows people down, it's a belief that they need more of it to start. It's not that the perfect moment never arrives, it's just people convince themselves it hasn't arrived yet. And this is the difference between the top 1% and everyone else. The top 1% treat time like an asset with diminishing returns. They see it as an asset that yields less benefit the later it's invested. So what do? Well, they front load time and task prioritization because they understand and trust in the process that the sooner they start to reinvest their time into high value tasks, the sooner their time is worth more. And the more will compound in the future. And that's how they get ahead, not by grinding more, but by getting smarter sooner. So if you want to earn more and build real wealth, then stop working for time and make time work for you. Treat it like money. Spend it where it pays, save it where it leaks, and invest it where it grows. Because wealth truly isn't about working more. It's about raising the value of every hour you already have.